All right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in this vast world you may or may not happen to be. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers Live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. I'm your host, Alexandra, and I hope everyone is having a nice start to their weekend. Let me make sure we have audio before we really get into this. Just give me one moment. Yes, we do. So I'm having a good start to my weekend. Last night, I took some time to do one of my favorite things, which is build a fire in a fire pit, and I roasted some Cajun sausages. They were delicious. I slept really well last night. And today I feel pretty motivated. Today, there's a few things I need to do in regards to resetting up my mobile streaming studio and also my mobile music studio. Good morning, Gavin. I'm sorry, Gary. Good morning. Good morning, He-Man. I hope you're having a good day too. Gary, I remember you from before. He-Man, I know from my other projects. I recognize your screen name. Yes, Jesus Christ rocks. I'll tell you. Anything having to do really with Christianity rocks, which is why I'm doing this page by page reading and commentary of the Bible. Because I'll tell you, as I read through the Bible, I just kind of see how certain things in life are repeats of a lot of biblical stories. I think if more people studied the Bible, they would be able to maneuver their way through life a bit better, because the Bible kind of is a good framework or a blueprint as to how the human mind works. I find it very comical yet educational when there's instances in the Old Testament of God having to reprimand the people because of what? Their poor choices. It's very reminiscent of how good parents at least reprimand their children when the children make bad choices. There's a lot of situations that are essentially revolving around spiritual lessons within the IRL live streaming community. And those like He-Man, who's in the chat right now, who follow those various situations that many streamers get themselves into, they see it. People see, they're like, no, wait a minute. All this person has to do is make some good choices, clean up their life a little bit. Maybe things will go better. But sometimes as humans, we think that we're smarter than we are. We think that we know more than we do. And that's what tends to lead us into very dark places. So let's go ahead and get into the book of Judges, chapter 11. I think it'll be pretty good. Here we go. Now, Jephthah, let's start over. I have a hard time pronouncing some of these names, some of these words. Gileadite, that's the word. Let's start over. Here we go. Now, Jephthah, the Gileadite, was a mighty man of valor, but he was the son of a prostitute. So here we are again, just like, what was that? Abimelech. Abimelech's mom was a prostitute too. And, the two oldest professions, supposedly, in the world are prostitute and lawyer. Lawyer is a occupation that's highly exalted. Prostitute, not so much. Am I saying anyone should have it in mind to grow up and be a prostitute? Absolutely not. I actually feel the same way about being an attorney nowadays. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of women find themselves in that position, whether they like it or not, quite often. And I think that's part of the reason that Jesus decided to shield Mary Magdalene when he did, He said, those without sin cast the first stone. Many of you who followed me over the years, you know I've worked in the adult industry. And despite my having zero criminal history, despite a lot of goodness that I do in this world, despite that I do live a very clean life, and I don't bother many people, I'm very judged. I think that due to my history in the adult entertainment, that's probably why I don't have any children. Not because of any medical reasons. Absolutely nothing ever was or is wrong with me. There were a lot of false rumors out there of me having HIV or AIDS, which I never have. I don't have that issue. But people have talked and talked and talked and talked and talked so much about me that it did hinder my dating prospects. Now, to the people who have spoken badly about me and even lied about me, I forgive all of you who have done that. Because I know one day you're going to have to face God about that. And I think that part of the reason I do have more blessings in my life than a lot of people is because God saw what a lot of people were doing to me as far as basically stoning me and my reputation to death for many years. So I wish things had been different in a lot of ways, but I guess it was supposed to be how it is. Anyway, it turns out that Jephthah's mother was a prostitute. So he was judged just like Abimelech was. Abimelech got mad. He decided, you know what? All you people who were messing with my mom, I'm just going to kill you. That's what he did. Was he punished by God for doing so? Yes. Read through Judges 7 up until 10. Or listen to it on this channel. But I understand why Abimelech was upset. Would I go that path? No. But again, those of you who listened to me for the wrong reasons, who engaged in a lot of hatred toward me unjustly that negatively impacted my life, God saw you. Gilead was the father of Jephthah. So Gilead had a lot of sons, most likely, that had prostitutes or concubines that were their mothers. And I bet they were all good mothers too. And I bet a lot of the trash talk against those mothers was from the wives who were jealous of the concubines and the prostitutes. Gilead's wife also bore him sons. His wife's sons grew up and drove Jephthah away. They said to him, you will not inherit anything from our father's house because you are the son of another woman. So Jephthah fled from his brothers and lived in the land of Tob. So they treated Jephthah the same way that they treated Abimelech. Interesting. Men of ill repute gathered around Jephthah and went out with him. Some time passed. Then the Ammonites waged war with Israel. When the Ammonites waged war with Israel, the elders of Gilead went to bring Jephthah back from the land of Tob. They said to Jephthah, come and be our leader so we may fight the Ammonites. Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, did you not hate me and drive me out of my father's house? Why have you come to me now that you're in trouble? Oh, I love Judges 11 already. This is great. This is great. This kind of story from the Bible is so timely. I understand why people discourage people from really reading the Bible, because this kind of thing is the kind of thing that a lot of people go through. You're judged because of things out of your control. You're judged because maybe you made some bad choices. In Jephthah's case, he didn't make any choices. He was born into a situation that was out of his control, but he was judged. All these people stoning him. Oh, your mom's a prostitute. Yeah. How come they don't say anything to Jephthah's dad about being polygamous? That was okay. But the woman that he chose, that he didn't marry, neither she or her child are okay in the eyes of the society that he was the ruler of, Gilead. It's crazy, isn't it? People's mindsets haven't changed very much since biblical times, have they? That's sad when it comes to humanity as a whole. So anyway, Jephthah, he was pretty woke. He was pretty aware as to what was going on. And he was like, why are you coming to me now after you've treated me like SHIT all this time? And likely his mother too. So the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, even so, we have turned to you. Come and fight the Ammonites. You will be ruler over all the inhabitants of Gilead. So they had nobody else. Let's see what he says. Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, if you bring me back to wage war against the Ammonites, and the Lord gives them to me, then I will be your ruler. The elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, may the Lord be a witness between us if we do not act according to your word. So Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead. The people set him over them as ruler and leader. And Jephthah spoke all his words before the Lord of Mizpah. Jephthah sent messengers to the Ammonite king to say, what problem is there between you and me that you have to come to me to wage war in my land? So he's diplomatic. The Ammonite king said to the messengers of Jephthah, because when Israel came up from Egypt, they took my land from the Arnon to the Jabbok and as far as the Jordan. Now return it peacefully. So this guy wants his land back. Again, Jephthah sent messengers to the Ammonite king and said to him, Jephthah says this, Israel did not take the land of Moab, nor the Ammonite land. For when Israel came up from Egypt, they went into the desert as far as the Red Sea and came to Kadesh. Then Israel sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, please let us pass through your land. Yet the king of Edom would not listen. They also sent messengers to the king of Moab, but he was unwilling. So Israel stayed in Kadesh. They went into the wilderness around the lands of Edom and Moab. They went east of the land of Moab and set up camp on the other side of the river, Arnon. They did not cross the boundary of Moab, for the river Arnon was the boundary of Moab. Then Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon. Israel said to him, please let us pass through your land to our home. Yet Sihon did not trust Israel to pass through his territory. So Sihon gathered all the people and set up camp in Jahaz to fight with Israel. The Lord God of Israel gave Sihon and all his people into the lands of Israel, and they struck them down. So Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites who lived in that land. They took possession of all the territory of the Amorites from the Arnon to the Jabbok and from the desert to the Jordan. Now that the Lord God of Israel has driven out the Amorites from before his people of Israel, should you take it? Will you not take possession of whatever Chemosh your God gives you? So everything that the Lord our God possesses before us, we will take possession of it. Now, are you really better than Balak, son of Zippor, the king of Moab? Did he ever contend with Israel or wage war with them? Israel has lived in Heshbon and its nearby towns, in Aroer and its nearby towns, and in all cities along the banks of the river Arnon for 300 years. Why did you not take them back during that time? Good question. All that time, why not take it back then? Because they couldn't, that's why. So I have not sinned against you, but it is you who are doing evil to me by waging war against me. May the Lord, the judge, judge today. between the Israelites and the Ammonites. So here's a little bit of what I think may have been going on also when it comes to the Ammonite king approaching Jephthah. You know how people gossip, people talk. I'll bet you that Ammonite king thought that Jephthah was not educated. I bet that they thought, oh, he's the son of a prostitute, must not be that bright. I bet we can walk all over him now that he's in power. They might have even done a deal with the elders of Gilead behind the scenes to try to railroad Jephthah. I don't put anything past anybody because I just know how people do things sometimes. I'll bet you that's a part of what happened. But Jephthah had a good mom, most likely. And because of the adversity that they faced via the prejudice and the bias and the misogyny of people within his own group at that time, to where he had to leave because everyone was basically stoning him, saying, oh, you're the son of a prostitute. You're not good enough. That made him stronger, strengthened him, strengthened his mind. So now here he is, king. People thought that they could railroad him, and that was not the case. So let's continue. Yet the Ammonite king would not listen to that message that Jephthah had sent him. Of course he didn't listen. It wasn't what he was anticipating. Then the Spirit of the Lord came on Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh, and he passed through Mizpah of Gilead and went to the Ammonites. So God was like, you know what, Jephthah? I'm going to help you out in this situation. I'm going to coach you directly. That's what was going on. Jephthah made a vow to the Lord. If you will indeed give the Ammonites into my hands, then whatever comes out the door of my house to meet me when I return safely from the Ammonites will surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up as a burnt offering. So he tells God, he's like, God, help me get through this. Whatever you want, I will do. God likes when you do stuff like that, when you have that mentality. So Jephthah crossed over to the Ammonites to wage war against them, and the Lord gave them into his hands. He struck them down from Aurora to Minith, 20 cities, and as far as Abel Keramim. The defeat was very severe, and the Ammonites were humbled before the Israelites. Then Jephthah came to his house at Mizpah, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him, dancing with a tambourine. She was his only child. Other than her, he had neither son nor daughter. When he saw her, he ripped up his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, you have brought utter disaster to me. You are my undoing, for I have given my word to the Lord, and I cannot take it back. So he's thinking, oh no, my favorite child, what's going to happen? I got to send you up as a burnt offering now. It was you who came out my house. Why do you stay inside? She said to him, my father, you have opened your mouth to the Lord. Do to me what has come out of your mouth, because the Lord worked vengeance upon your enemies, the Ammonites. So she's willing to take whatever it is that is to become of her. Then she said to her father, let this be done for me. Give me 2 months, and I and my friends will wander the hill country and mourn over my virginity. This is interesting. He said, go. And he sent her away for 2 months. So he's not willing to kill her right away. And I think God's okay with that, most likely. She and her friends went and mourned over her virginity in the hill country. At the end of the 2 months, she returned to her father, and he did to her according to the vow that he had made. Oh, so he had to kill her. She had not ever slept with a man, so she was pure, according to those times. So it became a custom in Israel that the women of Israel would commemorate the daughter of Jephthah, the Gileadite, for 4 days each year. Wow, that daughter, she was strong to not flee. At least we don't think she fled. Maybe they did an old switcheroo when she went for 2 months. Maybe they sent back the daughter of somebody else, but probably not. Who knows? But that's what happened in Judges 11. That was exciting. I didn't like the end. I'm sad that the daughter did have to be given as an offering to God, but God would still take care of her spirit in that situation. So that's the end of Judges 11. A lot happens in the book of Judges. Anyway, thanks for listening today. We'll come back tomorrow. The book of Judges, chapter 12. I want to send a thank you to the StreamYard tech support for helping me get some things reconnected when it comes to this YouTube channel. I want to thank all of you who listen for the right reasons. And between my regular work today and me just being extra ambitious, hopefully I can get everything set up to be very productive the rest of this month and going into September when it comes to my personal projects, my art, and my music. Take care. Have a great one. Bye-bye.